Exposure Report Weekly.
So on the topic of Mkultra, super athletes, much like super soldiers. I mean, there's so much to get into on this subject. I'm gonna first start off by showing you two different videos that I found, and then we'll get on to what else I found.
As a Green Beret in Vietnam, Tiger Woods' father, Earl, had witnessed PSYOPs, psychological operations, wiping soldiers' memories in order to send them into battle.
All right, now walk out there.
Earl wondered what would happen if he used the same techniques on his son.
Good easy. Relax. No fear.
He hired a military psychiatrist who could reprogram Tiger like a computer.
Relax. No wait. No pain.
This man was Captain J. Brunzer. Brunzer embarked on a bizarre and extraordinary program to hypnotize Tiger before he played. In a rare interview, Tiger talked about how he would forget whole sections of tournaments.
I tend to have these blackout moments where I don't remember. I know I was there, but I don't remember actually performing the golf shot.
Brunzer's techniques produced extraordinary results. But is it possible that the great moments we saw, Tiger knew nothing about?
There's such thing as a siddhi. It's a Sanskrit word that roughly translate as superpower. Apparently, siddhis included an ability to master pain, levitation, invisibility, being able to read minds at a distance. Basically, this article is saying any comic book superpower you can think of. There's this one particular man who took an interest in this, and I'm not going to get into everything that he did, but he actually founded the Center for Eastern Religions, like philosophy, alternative medicines, and a fair amount of nude hot tub bathing. A lot of people ended up going to these areas. There was hot springs on the grounds, and we've got George Harrison, the Beatle, went there to jam with Ravi Shankar. Timothy Leary taught regular workshops on the benefits of LSD. And so we've got some notable people that this. This guy was a fan of baseball, but not an ordinary fan. He took a particular interest in it because he claimed, and I would say he actually successfully used his mind to affect games. And if anyone wants to look into that particular experience that he had, you can, I'll leave the link to this article. So it says Murphy believed that the best place for the superpowers to reveal themselves was on the sports field. Sports, he said, sorry, his name is Mike Murphy, by the way, was the West's yoga. He collated thousands of stories of athletes describing siddhis experiences. John Brody, the San Francisco 49ers quarterback, once told Murphy that he could move the ball with the power of his mind and reported seeing rivals shapeshift to avoid tackles. What about a human passing through solid matter? Murphy cites Pelé, one of the world's greatest footballers. I'm sorry if I am completely destroying that name. I'm probably... I felt that I could dribble through any of their team, that I could pass through them physically. In 1970, ice hockey star Bobby Orr was said to have called on abilities of thought projection to hypnotize Chicago Blackhawk players during a 4-game winning sequence on the way to the Stanley Cup Finals for his Bruins team. So Murphy later went on to be an advisor for the Jedi warrior training program at West Point Military Academy in New York, codenamed Project Jedi. soldiers in the program were taught invisibility, seeing into the future, and extraordinary intuition, like knowing how many chairs were in a room before walking in, but also stopping the hearts of animals. There was actually a movie made out of it, and George Clooney was the star, called The Men Who Stare at Goats. Again, anyone interested in looking into that, I will leave some links in the description. So I looked up Siddhi, okay, which is similar to Sidhu, which is a Sikh last name. It's used all the time, right? The meaning on Wikipedia here is in Indian religions, Siddhis, in Sanskrit, meaning fulfillment, accomplishment, are material, paranormal, supernatural, otherwise magical powers, abilities, and attainments that are the products of yogic advancement through sadhanas such as meditation and yoga. And so anyway, there's just a bunch of stuff here that talks about, there's 8 classical Siddhis, okay? And here's some abilities. I'm just gonna briefly go through it because it's a whole article here. The ability to reduce one's body to the size of an atom, the ability to expand one's body to an infinitely large size, the ability to become weightless or lighter than air, the ability to become heavy or dense. So this one obviously has to do with air and atoms, and there's others down here, which would have to do with psychic abilities, knowing the past, present, and future, or tolerance of heat, cold, and other dualities, knowing the minds of others, checking the influence of fire, sun, water, poison, remaining unconquered by others. Okay, now there's others. Being undisturbed by hunger, thirst, and other bodily appetites. This reminds me of things that super soldiers are able to do. Hearing things far away, seeing things far away, moving the body wherever thought goes. So teleportation, astral projection, assuming any form desired, entering the bodies of others, dying when one desires, witnessing and participating in the pastimes of the gods. Okay, and let's see, give a couple more here. Freedom from pain arising from possessing and being attached to various materialistic gains, freedom from pain caused by fate or due to reliance on fate, and on and on and on. All right, so this man supposedly read a book that led him to study this. So he became a master of these various Siddhis, obviously. If he's sitting in on games and able to affect these games with his mental capacity. Now, how does this tie into Mkultra, Monarch? I mean, he went on to be an advisor for the Jedi project. And I'm going to go to another article here where different survivors that have come out and spoken about how they've witnessed athletes being Mkultra'd, or the purposes of specific Mkultra that was for athletes. So there's one particular survivor here that this website is mentioning, Kathy O'Brien. And she said in one of her books, Transformation, and I tried to find this book, but I can't, that one of her schools, Muskegon Catholic Central, was using a manufactured program and mind control technique to make pupils to excel at sports. Catholic Central did increase my endurance capabilities as planned. However, I signed up for the 2-mile run in the girls' track team as ordered. Muskegon Catholic Central led the state of Michigan in high school athletics, using mind control technique to modify their star athletes and cause them to excel beyond pre-established records. The school gained national recognition for its contribution to professional leagues with their manufactured programmed athletes. So Catholic Central's consistent victories began to raise suspicions and questions. Obviously, I mean, all of your star athletes, like they're beating everyone, just like much the athletes nowadays, like the top players, are consistently beating others, right? They're on the top.
Right.
So this created a public scandal for the school that threatened to close its doors in 1975. The girls and guys track teams converged after school for practice. I was among the few females singled out for coaching by Coach Cheverini and his hypnotic mind control method due to my Project Monarch victimization. So she was singled out because she's already in the project, right? Mm-hmm. I was instructed to run 13 miles per day. Another corny satanic ploy to get in shape for my 2-mile race. I often ran with a male friend who was the record holder for the 2-mile in guys track. He and I were friends, sharing much due to our similar Project Monarch victimizations. Together we learned how to shut out pain and fatigue when we ran. We tranced into a fast pace set in our minds by Coach Cheverini with no comprehension of time or distance. We perceived the track as our yellow brick road in accordance with the Oz theme programming. Senator Byrd's plan for building my physical endurance through Catholic Central's coaching methods proved successful for allowing me to survive his intensely torturous sexual perversions. She mentions Senator Byrd. I read about him in a few survivors' accounts, including J.W. Sweet on MormonMonarch.com. Sicko, well, they're all sickos, right? But yeah. Okay, so she's mentioning stuff that Brice Taylor mentions in her book. She has a book, it's called Thanks for the Memories. And
well, maybe just leave a link and people can look that up for themselves, because sometimes that stuff can be pretty triggering for people. So
yeah, let's just say that we all know by now, or a lot of us know, that the Illuminati, their partners, I mean, are always chosen, and these people themselves are not always even straight, because they're programmed and tortured into homosexuality. It's just that's the going thing. They want you to be homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
So the partners are chosen, and they're going to be also MK Ultra Monarch victims, right? And you know, people have children, and then these children are owned by these programmers too, or the CIA or the project, right? They're owned also. And these sickos have no qualms about destroying children. That's what they get off on. And they think, because they think they're creating superhumans, soldiers, super athletes. That is their actual belief. So needless to say, these children are also used. The wives are usually beta kitten slaves, meaning they are programmed for sexual favors. They're given to the athletes as rewards, and including their children.
What?
Oh, Sidhi. It's like Sidhu, like the name Sidhu, but it's Sidhi. Yeah.
So, I mean, are those inherently bad things to know? Like, are they things that we're not supposed to know? Like, or are they things that we
Okay, remember, it means in Sanskrit fulfillment, accomplishment.
Okay.
Now, was it always meaning material, paranormal, supernatural, or otherwise magical powers, abilities, and attainments that are products of yogic advancement through sadhanas such as meditation and yoga? Did it always mean this? Or is that something new? Are they just using that word? Right?
Right.
So you're asking, is paranormal, supernatural, or magical powers or abilities or psychic powers or whatever, you're asking if that's inherently wrong?
Right. Because, because growing up, we're taught that, all of that's magic and anyone who can do that is evil. And but
Growing
I'm thinking,
up, yeah, as a religious in a
Right.
religious family, right?
right. But I feel like these are some of these traits. Obviously, anything can be used for good or bad. But I feel like these traits. I mean, imagine if you had you could train yourself to have that ability to not be affected by temperature, hunger. I mean, imagine what you could do in your life
Yep.
if you could overcome those bodily restrictions. Imagine how far you could go mentally and
You could be a super athlete.
you could be whatever you want.
I don't believe that it's inherently wrong. I believe that it's all about intention and what you are intending to use it for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe. Because I believe that we all have these abilities, and to tap into them for the benefit of others or yourself in a sense that it's in a positive light, not a negative light. You're not hurting others. You're not doing things that are trying to subdue other people's will.
Right. I mean, obviously, in respect to what we were talking about earlier today, is these things are being used to control the players, to affect the outcome of games. So it's not being used for good. But I also feel like a whole other topic. Again, we're created in the image of the Maker. We all inherently have these abilities, but we don't all know how to tap into them. That's kind of what I feel like. So we're just seeing an example of them being used for
Nefarious.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Right.
And I feel like that gives it a bad image too. That's why when you grow up in a religious family, these things are bad, these things are evil. I mean, yes, there is magic that is, that we aren't supposed to possess, I believe. But this isn't magic that we're talking about. This is like abilities that you can learn to do. But we don't even know. We're not even aware of everything we're capable of doing, because a lot of us are just taught it's bad and you can't do that and it's not real or whatever. So anyway, that's a whole other other topic.
It's satanic. It's so you're not even allowed to question it, look into it, research it, because you feel like, am I gonna get demon possessed if I even read about it?
Yeah,
Stuff
exactly.
like that. So your mind remains closed, and you got to ask who's behind that, because do we really need masses that have closed off pineal glands, that their third eye is closed, where they're not walking around in full intuition, insight, foresight, knowledge, wisdom that they should have?
Yeah.
I feel like those things have been stolen from us, hidden from us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what societies do, right? They use it for their nefarious purposes, and it can never be tapped into for good, because it's kept in the masses. Do I believe using it for super soldier or super athlete success is right? No. I mean, heck no. Not only are they using hypnotism and meditation, and I mean, they're forcing these athletes into it. It's not something of their own will. So obviously, if you're forcing someone against their will to do anything, then that makes it inherently wrong right there.
Exactly.
But there have been on as far as Tiger Woods goes, there have been people, pro golfers, I guess, have mentioned that Woods was actually hated by other golfers, they knew he was a manufactured product. Pentagon MKUltra mind control. Anyway, his father was a Green Beret Special Forces Vietnam, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like half Vietnamese, half black, African American, or no, Thailand.
So it's Earl. His dad was Earl Woods.
Yeah, so he's a quarter black, right? Yeah, he's a citizen of Thailand. He's named for a South Vietnamese army officer who assassinated 50,000 South Vietnamese government employees who opposed the communists of the New World Order Phoenix program. So, yeah, China and Thailand, which are apparently home of Manchurian candidates. So when Tiger was very small, his dad, who had seen MKUltra Monarch used on soldiers, right?
Right.
He had hired a drill sergeant to scream at Tiger while putting and swinging. So, I mean, obviously he was doing a lot more than screaming, hypnotizing him and whatnot, like where in one of the videos, Tiger's describing periods of blackouts where he won't even remember anything of the game.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Exactly. So the show that he was on, okay, the Bob Hope show, Bob Hope has been named by numerous survivors as an MKUltra programmer and pedophile, CIA.
Doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me at all. No.
Yeah.
Especially after last week when we were talking about Billy Graham, like that doesn't surprise me to hear that name dropped at all now.
So it's the programming that they do in particular is Delta programming, and here on kathyboxwordpress.com, it's saying the Illuminati through Delta programming can dramatically enhance the mental game of an athlete through trauma brace programming. So the different types of programming now, right? They've got Delta, Theta, Beta, Kitten, Sex, Slave, brainwave programming. Spally says that this type of brainwave programming creates an emotionless alter personality or personalities that have photographic memories.
So these different types of programming are part of MKUltra then?
Right. It's the same sort of programming. It's just continuation of the supposedly, the program that was stopped, canceled, whatever, that just kept on going, right? Many different athletes have come out actually and spoken about it. There's one in particular that I wasn't able to find a video of. Is Arron. He was an Australian cricketer. His name is Arron. I wish I could find a video. I found only part 2 and 3 where they were not speaking about the sports aspect of his testimony, his statement. Arron, Wesley, Crawford, bases 54 on, I believe it was Rumble. Again, there's only part 2 or 3, but he was mentioned in, I don't know if it was her, no, it wasn't her book, it was it was on an internet website that she had his video on there. So he was a Delta programmed super soldier who then, and he didn't know, right? This was done to him. He became a targeted individual, and he has videos up on Bases 54 and Rumble if you want to look into it. I think it's the Bases Project. Account. So part 2 and 3, though, he does talk about his targeted situations, which are disturbing. You need to watch the videos. Again, we can link all of this in the description.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, given that sports are rigged, the players are super athletes, they have been enhanced probably both physically and mentally through hypnotism, mind control, and whatever sports enhancements you can give to someone. And I'm leaning on the side of they're probably doing much more than we actually think as far as enhancements go. I mean, there's been so much talk about the super soldier enhancements that they're doing. How do we know that they're not implanting these athletes with things?
Right.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Injections that, just like the mRNA vaccine and things like that are actually, changing the DNA. I'm sure that they've been doing this to these people.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. If you think about how far technology's come, there's no way they're not using technology to their advantage, Yeah. I mean,
sky's the limit for them. Literally, like everything that you can think of, and even things that you can't even think of, because your mind doesn't comprehend evil.
Right.
It's
and we often learn about things after they've been talked about by someone who's witnessed it. So after the information's been leaked, so we wouldn't even have considered it
for 40, 50 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just advances continuously. And then on top of that, we've got the fact that they're using transgenders.
Mm-hmm.
A lot, if not all, of the top athletes, celebs, are transgender by birth, even before birth, in the womb. And yes, they can do that. Apparently, I heard Nicole Kidman was one of those, that it had been done like prior to birth.
Interesting.
And there are many. And it sounds shocking, like, how do they even do that? Well, according to Jesse Zepotar, they do far worse in the womb. And even Spally talks about different things that they will do, torture and programming that is done to the child and mother during pregnancy. But Jesse actually talks about things like surgeries that take place within the womb.
Wow.
I mean, talking limbs being replaced with pig's limbs and pig noses, and so that this child is born a total defilement.
Wow.
This child is born like that and grows like that, so they can't even walk because they don't, like, everything is just, and then that child thinks that that's who they are. The mother thinks that she gave birth to that, and then it's cursed, and yeah, it's horrible. So, I mean, just, you can't even contemplate these things. It's disgusting. So we've got transgender people in sports way before these transgender people have been placed in sports.
Right.
On the girls' team or whatever, Like,
yep.
This has been happening already.
Yeah.
And now they're fucking you because it's been happening already. Just like Victoria's Secret. Well, the secret is the models are transgender. You got all the world, getting off to Victoria's Secret catalogs that are filled with men. Surprise, surprise, man.
Disturbing.
I mean, sorry, my computer's moving.
I know. I'm watching your face disappear. Slowly, it's like, ooh, looking up your nose.
Why did you not tell me? This video is not happening. This video is not happening.
This is gonna be. This will be our best. Our best video.
And my hair too is like sticking up everywhere.
It's our best video ever. It's gonna be all like choppy because of all the splicing.
This is gonna be the worst editing experience ever.
It might take you a.
Because I had a point. I had a point that I was gonna make. What was I just saying?
Transgenders in sports and Victoria's Secret models. I don't know, what was your point?
Okay. Just leave it, because we're veering off on another subject now. We're trying to stay on topic here, right?
Right. That's impossible. It's like impossible to stay on topic because every topic is another topic. It's like there's just so many things that just keep coming up. It's crazy. I mean, even like the whole sports thing, like we could go on and on about this forever because I want to get into talking about the whole Taylor Swift thing. Like,
yeah,
that's a whole.
We'll go off on all these subjects, but okay. So I mean, we're using Tiger Woods as an example, but obviously it's not Tiger Woods. Name some top players here. Like, I'm not a sports fan. I don't know, but I
not
know
either. No,
we've got
I'm not.
David Beckham. We've got Michael Jordan. Oh my goodness. Okay, did you know that Michael Jordan's sister, one of his sisters, actually lost her virginity to her father?